Do you really just know when someone is the one? Men have said this around me a lot, that they just know when they've met the one, usually in terms of marriage. I feel like it's kind of bull. What do you think? I didn't know if my wife was the one, but I could tell right away she was a really good person, and at the very least, I wanted to keep her in my life. It just worked out that she liked me too, lol. No, not really. You definitely know when someone is not the one. However, when I met my wife, I had a feeling that this might be it by the end of the first date. Every date made me more and more certain. I think I knew I wanted to marry her after the first month. We've been together 18 years. It's still perfect. I won't say I knew she was the one, but I most certainly had a feeling. As I've commented before, I think me being the right person at the time also had a lot to do with it. In my opinion, no. The only time I thought I knew who the one was, she turned out to be the biggest waste of time. When I first saw my now wife, I said to myself, I'm gonna marry that one. We dated for 3 years, got engaged, married a year later. That was 30 years ago. I guess I just knew. There is no such thing as the one. You both choose every day whether to be together or not. Not really, and also sometimes. My wife is amazing. A 1 in 100 special type of soul, whom I get along with perfectly. While I don't believe in all that soulmates crap, I certainly knew this was going to be the best it'd ever get, by a long shot. My best advice: always be hopeful. Don't go into any relationship with the idea that it won't last. My husband says, he just knew I was the one because I laughed at his jokes and we had fun doing mundane things. We've been together for 35 years and married for 33. I knew he was the one too. He's the best man I've ever met. I think that's very individual and depends on the situation, people involved. I think so, but in a sense people and times change. Change is constant. What I can say is, my one is my everything. Easiest way to put it in words is saying that relationship is easy. Never tough, never angry, never a mission. Always just flows. I feel like the one is a euphemism for meeting someone you click particularly well with. And not the literal definition of the one perfect person for you. I'm not sure there is the one. When someone feels that way, what I think they're really saying is I am much happier with this person than I would be without them, and I think I'll feel that way forever. But, if something tragic happens and the union doesn't last, both of those people are likely to find another the one. I'm of the opinion we all fall in love many times in our life. Nah, not at all. The divorce rate is like 40 to 50 and all those people thought they'd met the one. All it means is they fell hard and thought they met the one. Then time tells the full story of whether they did or not. The one is a fairy tale sold by Disney rom-coms. You find somebody you love and make life work with them. Most of marriage is boring. If you're expecting non-stop love fest, then you're going to end up disappointed. My wife and I cohabitate most of the time with plenty of love mixed in. But you do know when you know. But to act like I couldn't have married someone else is silly. I just didn't want to. I'm not married, so I don't know how much this matters. But certain women have something that most don't. You can't put a finger on it or in it, hand over mouth, it's just an intangible thing that certain women give off. It has nothing to do with appearance. The best way I can describe it is when you're around someone that you have never met before but you just don't like them. You don't know why, but everything in you wants you to leave their area. I think we have some additional senses that we've lost due to civilization. Sure, when you're a dumb kid. Then you grow out of it and realize it's way more complicated. No. It's a glorious fantasy, and makes Hallmark rich, but it's still a fantasy. The best marriages are built on friendship, people committed to bringing themselves and each other successfully through all of life's changes. It's lovely, and there are moments of high passion, but it's not the one. There are 8 billion people on the planet, pretty sure we have options here. Nope, it's bull. Disney movie bullshit. Lol, once you grow up, you realize there isn't the one. There are many people who you can make into the one. You set a certain set of criteria, and then find someone who fits most of them. Who checks most of the boxes. Not all, because you can't have everything you want in one person. But most. And then you find that person that's good enough, and you make it work. Waiting for the one is an exercise in futility. If you just met them, the only thing you know is whether you find them attractive. Met my wife when we were in middle school. We dated on and off for a couple of years, continuously coming back to each other. Towards the end of high school, after remaining close friends during a 2-3 year gap in dating, We both knew that we were the one. We've been together 13 years since, and married for 8. We both knew from an early age that we were the one for each other. I know people who dated over 5 years and broke up with their so before ever thinking about marriage, but my dad asked my mom to marry him on the second date after she walked out during the first for telling her he loved her, and they've been married 33 years together. 35. When you know you know. There is no the one. It's just a thing people say to make others happy. Absolutely not. You just know when you've met somebody you're infatuated with. A lifelong partnership is a lot more complicated than that. Yeah. I'm married to her now. No. Everyone has several ones, and sometimes they overlap each other. I've had at least 4. It's a load of garbage. However, once you get to know the person well, then you do see them as at least the one for a long time now. I knew, for example, that my husband is the one straight away, from our first date. Things got complicated, we fell apart, and few years later we found each other again and we felt the same. Yes. When you know, you know. You either don't believe in soulmates, that one perfect person for you, or you believe there's many of them. Don't put people on a pedestal, it'll screw things up real fast. If you know what you want and if what they want matches, then you just know. No. It's a fantasy. But thinking that makes a guy commit. At that point it takes work to maintain the relationship, as his fantasy is under constant bombardment by reality. Same goes for women. Lol, no. Don't chase the dragon. No, it's more like you decide you are ready to settle down, and the next compatible woman you meet will be the one. It's more about your mental state than who she is. I would say that the concept of the existence of the one is foolishness from film, TV and pulpy romance novels. Sure, there are people out there that may be more or less compatible romantically and practically. But in the end, any successful relationship will involve a lot of choices to be together. The one is a person who gives you enough that you are happy to give them what they need from you in return. Waiting around imagining that there is some ordained, magical creature that will just fit you isn't going to lead to any happy ever afters. This is a load of bull. This concept is cooked up by the rom-com industry. There is no the one. You find someone you like, see if you like them enough to be around them 24/7 365/6, and go from there. Men are trained to look for the one in order to curb our wandering dicks tendencies. The man who I'm married to now, I didn't believe in soulmates or the one. But on our very first date, this gruff, masculine, disheveled man straight from a teen romance book wearing this business casual outfit, I saw him wearing a fucking pastel pink My Little Pony watch. That instance right there, I knew I was gonna marry that man. And I did. I thought so, and sort of still do. Story time is that I was 21 day drinking at a bluegrass festival, and this 18-year-old chick who was hungover as fuck walked up to my tent, sat down beside me, and claimed me as hers. I knew she was the one that weekend. We were together for 6 years before she passed unexpectedly, and I couldn't have asked for a more perfect relationship. We never once in 6 years had a bad fight, never raised a voice at each other, nothing. She was the one who I'd grow old with. Spoiler alert, there is no the one. You find someone whose company you enjoy, whose values match yours, have mutual physical attraction, and you decide if you want to spend your life with them. If yes, expect some work and hard times, coupled with great memories and the fun of having a best friend life partner around. But there is no magical the one. Very gullible people who live in a fantasy world. Bet they all get divorced at least once. There's no the one, soulmate, twin flame, etc. There's a bunch of people you're compatible with, many more you're not. Love is an active decision, not an all-conquering emotion. I was single for about 8-9 years. I thought at that point I was going to be alone forever until I met my future wife one day at a job I had took in another state. I'm not really the type of guy to seek women out or anything, but for some weird reason I pushed myself to get to know her, and yeah, I know it sounds like bullshit, but I really think the universe works in strange ways. No, you don't. Not if you want your marriage to work. One-itis is a toxic mindset. A serious man generally has a list of green flags requirements to vet women for marriage. That said, once he's decided that he wants to be married and starts dating a girl for marriage, he won't take years to make up his mind. 6 months to a year tops is plenty of time to see if a girl is wife material. If a man's telling a woman she's the one and keeps stringing her along for years on end without a marriage timeline, that's just game. B. Peterson said something interesting about that very subject. He said that it is not something you discover but rather something you decide. The idea of the one is for teenage girls high on chic lit and Disney. If you believe in the one, you may as well as believe in just knowing as well. I subscribe to the belief that there are many potential matches for successful marriages, but it takes a period of dating to know for sure with each. The one means 1. Low body count, 2. Younger than 28.